Hello and welcome to an episode of Casual Friday. I'm here with the Duck. As always, the show is brought to you by Woo. Links available in the description below. Don, I must apologize for writing you off a couple of weeks ago, saying, "Oh well, he's gone now, and you're stuck with me." And then I rugged my Monday show, and then you weren't gone after all. So that episode was just full of misinformation, and that's without referencing my awful takes about the market as usual. So I guess I should apologize for that.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, I wish I was, but it's still a little bit to go.
Yeah, I mean, you're here, so you can enjoy a victory lap of sorts. Looking at the market, BTC up, but up less than other things. ETH
Yeah.
up mega, and XRP up mega.
Yeah.
That.
Those are actually the best performers,
What
right?
more can you ask for?
I've been like congratulating myself for picking the two coins that everyone hates
Yeah.
and actually making money with it.
Yeah,
So
no, fantastic stuff. I mean, all of that just basically played out, right? Like in slightly more detail, when I was too busy soiling my underwear over the weekly close below 104, you basically said it doesn't matter, right? And
yeah.
matter it did not. On the ETH front, I mean, ETH BTC was like, oh, well, it's still down a lot, but it's holding up, and that's okay. It did undercut your cluster, but kind of who gives a shit? I think the main argument on ETH USD was that if it breaks 2.8 and you quite liked the wicks and the reclaim, etc., there's mostly air towards 4, and at least that impulse is in progress. And
Yeah.
then the XRP argument was it was a mega move and it's gone sideways, and now it's pretty much, I mean, in 2 weeks poking at the highs once again. So good shit. Pat on the back for you. You know, you're not
Thank
going to
you.
get any
Thank you.
flowers on Twitter, but
No, no.
here you
No,
go. This is what you choose for.
I've had some people actually commenting that I actually was never bullish XRP to begin with. And I'm
Oh,
like,
great. Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah.
I mean, fair enough, fair enough.
I mean, they do
Just
know you're trading better than you do, right? Like, you'd be
Yeah, I
insane
mean,
to
yeah, of
assume.
course.
Yeah, yeah, of
I mean,
course.
that's kind of how Twitter goes. So
That is
like,
how it goes.
it's really funny because like, there's been times where I've been like completely off sync with the market, right? And people are like used to be very apologetic. They're like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like sometimes you have losing streaks,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now that I've had a really really good run this cycle, especially.
No, but you sold
And
everything at like 30K according to Twitter, and, never
yeah,
bought back ever again.
and now people are just making shit up, which is really funny. Like
Oh, man.
as like a gotcha, which is like this is not how it works. Like if you make something up about someone and then you're like, gotcha, I don't know, like fair enough. I can make shit up about everyone then and be like,
Yes.
gotcha. Doesn't really make much sense.
Very
But
strange.
anyway, like yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Everything worked out exactly as I wanted it to. Um, the Bitcoin trade, I think, was actually like with that fake out one of the more difficult ones out of them all.
Mm-hmm.
That one was basically just like I think I got like bailed out by a little bit of ambivalence on my part,
Sure.
being like I think it's like the market is just so shit. I think this is just bullshit. Um, if I just listened to the technicals like flat out, that could have gotten me too, at least for that week. So got a little bit lucky on the Bitcoin front. Everything else played out perfectly. I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, we'll see how it goes in the next few weeks. But I mean, just looking at ETH and XRP especially, they look quite incredible, which is a little bit scary, right? When Bitcoin is kind of struggling, and then you have like some form of mini Altseason going where like ETH BTC has been outperforming for basically weeks now. XRP is just like, have you looked at the XRP BTC daily chart?
You know what?
Like,
Believe it or not, that I have not looked at the XRP BTC daily chart.
I mean, that's absurd though. Like, look at it. Like
Yeah,
XRP BTC
that's a
daily, like the
hilarious
fuck
looking
is that?
chart. Yeah,
Um,
that's a crime chart.
yeah, it's crime in process, and all of that while like the XRP founders are moving a bunch of XRP around.
Yeah.
Dude, it's such a fucking crime coin. Like people don't understand that I really dislike XRP, right? Like if you've not been around for a while, you actually like don't know my arc. But I in 2017 I was trading XRP, and made a bunch of money on it, because I mean that was basically my first full cycle, and XRP just seemed interesting enough. And then as I was holding it, I kind of like learned more and more about it and started hating it a lot. And then I flooded it the entire like rest of my crypto career until basically like 7, 8 months ago, right? Like I've been shit talking XRP basically since 2018 all the way to 2024, end of 2024, and then flipped the script. So it's not like I like this stuff. I just saw crime and I saw like a good trade, and then I just took the trade. But people assume that I'm like an XRP maxi at this point, which I find really funny because I couldn't be further from the truth. I don't like crime things, just generally. It's the problem that I have with a lot of people on crypto Twitter and with like some stuff that is going on in politics is because of that. I don't like crime. So it shouldn't be too surprising.
I don't know. You seem to hold a lot of XRP for someone who doesn't like crime. You know? It's one thing what your stated preferences are, and then another thing what you do with your money. You know.
Oh, if I was only trading stuff that I actually liked, I think I would only be trading Bitcoin.
But then you didn't trade meme coins for moral reasons, right?
Oh,
at least in part. And then when it's convenient, the morality filter loosens, you know.
It's also quite funny because technically I never really had a problem with meme coins. I just had a problem with the stuff that people were doing on Twitter to promote their bags. So I was shit talking basically Ansem and like his friends and like the other like all the meme coin cabal for basically pumping dumping on people. And then people were like, oh, you fucking hate memes, you fucking hate this and that. I'm like, dude, I bought Dogecoin is the first significant buy that I did. Like, it's not like I'm hating on meme coins. I just don't like what that space has become, right? Basically, the only way to make money in meme coins has been, and is probably gonna be for a while, that you have influence on Twitter and then you can promote it and a bunch of your followers are buying it and the one that buys it last gets fucked. And it's just not my cup of tea, right? Like, I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with like some random dude throwing up a meme and then a bunch of people buying it, and there's barely any insiders or none at all. Like, if that happens, I'm like, good for you guys. Like, gamble on something that's like zero sum ish. You're obviously still gonna have to pay fees and stuff, but like, I'm totally happy with that. I'm just not happy with the whole pump and dumping, taking advantage of followers, all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm just opposed to that. But people generally just like to take things out of context. And
yeah, it's so much more fun that way, man. Live a little.
Yeah.
Before we lose everyone, let's talk about chart stuff, because
we should,
because
it's
meme
interesting.
Coin moralizing, I swear to God, I'm gonna stop fucking listening. I think the most relevant. I think there are two relevant timeframes on BTC. Feel free to call me idiot at any point. An idiot. The weekly is one of them. And I think that's still
important.
Yeah, because it's kind of just like the big one, right? And it's the breakout time frame as well. So I think it's relevant insofar as it's the breakout time frame. It's less relevant insofar as I still think if we start revisiting the breakout levels or start moving anywhere close towards last week's low, I'd start shitting it again, which probably means it's the bottom again. But but like in pure TA terms, if we have an impulse like this through all-time high, finally seems aggressive, and ETH flies and the global open interest goes up, all this shit happens, and BTC starts giving it back, I think that would suck. That would be like a 2021 top-ish, just with a bigger push through the all-time high. So the weekly is good insofar as, hey, we're clear of here, but I don't think it's good in terms of, oh, here's the weekly support at 108, you know? Like, I don't think that's it. I think the daily is probably like, it was like either the daily or the 4 hour, doesn't matter too much. It's a question of like, where do you find the shallow pullback? And this might be a bit of a hot take, but like, I feel like we've already come pretty fucking close to like what's tolerable for a shallow pullback.
115.
Like 116, 115, right? Like where the shelf was built after the impulse, essentially. You could even go down to the hourly, and you know those two 10th of July candles, essentially, the bottom of the hourly range at like 115.5, 116-ish.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of it, you know? And we've already technically like overshot it as well and spiked below on 115. But like, I think that's the type of area that is the real support, because I think if it starts to give back too many of the gains in this weekly impulse with all the extra weight that's been added on top, open interest wise and altcoin wise, etc., I think we're in for a shit time. So in terms of pullbacks and like proximity and validation, all the stuff spoken about last week, like, okay, there's a big move. If you want to get on board a pullback, you don't want the whole thing to retrace. So what's acceptable? I think the answer to what's acceptable is like 115, 116. What do you think?
I mean, I'm a little bit more like I give it a little bit more room, but I honestly I agree.
Would
with
you give it 113?
I give it like a 110 below there.
Really?
Bad.
But
honestly,
isn't that the whole fucking thing?
Yeah, but honestly, like I would hate if that happened,
Okay.
and I would probably want to be bearish before then. But given how the only reason why I'm saying this, and this is not something that I would usually do, is because I know how skittish macro is right now. So I'm kind of like worried that like something is going to be said, something's going to be done that takes the S&P down a little bit. And then I want to give it enough room to account for that. But just crypto terms, if we were in any other time period where just basically there's not like a bunch of like massive like macro things just flying around everywhere, I would 100% exactly do like the same thing. Like 115, 116 would be as low as I would like it to go. That's kind of like where I start getting nervous. Like you start closing below 115, I'm actually gonna start getting nervous. For multiple reasons, and you mentioned like most of them. It's basically like you have altcoins going crazy. At least some of them are. The old ones are, the newer ones not so much, as far as I've been able to tell. But basically, you have altcoins flying. You have a breakout, and that combination coupled with like just a weak breakout is just scary. So I do agree with you. Like 115, I think that's kind of like the early, like very early warning sign, but also seems already kind of late. I kind of agree with you. Like you don't want to have it pull back too much, but I'm going to give it a little bit more room than that, just based on the fact that I'm a little bit afraid that we're going to get some headlines again, especially now that like, and I mean, this doesn't really matter on the party, right? But like whenever you have like a bunch of negative news like swirling around you, and that's definitely what Trump has right now. Usually, like what you do is you get like you get like a
invade a Middle Eastern country.
Yeah, I mean, like shoot some bombs, like find it just no, but it's like legit, like true how it often happens. Like you find a distraction basically to get like the spotlight off of those kind of like domestic problems. And I could see that be the case, so I'm a little bit worried about that short term wise, to ruin the trade that I would still want to be in, right? Like if a headline news takes us down to 110, so be it. That's fine. If it's just the market being shit, I think that's beyond scary.
Okay, so you're basically willing to give it more buffer than you ordinarily would just because of potential spillover from the real world. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's the thing right now, right? Like we are actually like a big asset now, like big asset class. So I think that's going to get more and more the case, and I think we're going to be more and more macro traders, which is fucking awful. I hate it. I don't understand
let's get
any
in the
of
trenches instead. There's some daily runners cooking.
Yeah, I mean, you've had ETH running, so
yeah, exactly. There's your daily runner, and Ethereum Classic too, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Yeah, dude, come on. Where are your reflexes? You know, as soon as ETH starts going up, the real ETH starts going up.
It probably went up more, right?
I think it was up like 20% in the last 24 hours or something.
Yeah, it probably up.
Do you know what the funny outcome would be? It's like if it ends up not holding 115, 116, and then you're like, oh, well, it's fine as long as it's 110, but then that was actual weakness instead of macro stuff. That would suck, right? It's like I listened to DonAlt, he told me it was fine, and now it's at 102 and I feel sick.
I mean, the good thing is that like I've been chilling this since low enough.
That's very true.
Even if it goes below 100k, I think we're fucked. And I mean that would still be above where I shielded.
Yes, your clout tokens, your clout reserves are safe.
Yeah, I can farm them for a while.
Yeah, that's the real strategic reserve. But I think the TLDR is pretty fair. Like retraces on breakouts suck. The more it does that, the shittier it is. I think the most bullish outcome would be holding the earliest support. That's like generally true, right? And so that means like 115, 116, or even just not getting there and holding up here and pushing up. The dynamic so far has been like on the heavy side, like on the slight, there's like a signal of froth, at least locally, which is that like BTC's been weak and a lot of open interest has been piled into these altcoins instead. That type of freshly added open interest tends to be pretty skittish and like the first to jump if the market doesn't go up in a straight line. So if there's any more downward pressure from BTC, I think that latest tranche could get wiped out on the alt side, but that could also just be your reason to enter. It's not a bad deal. I also wouldn't like if this persists, which is to say, like, BTC keeps going down, but then alts keep adding a ton of open interest and just keep mooning without it. I think that'd be very interesting and tradable in like a local alt sense, but in terms of which inning we're in, that would certainly push my mental model back a bit further. So TLDR,
it's the only thing that we're missing, right? Like the old season, basically cycle-wise. If you're thinking about
the thing is, this is like, we talked about it before the show a little bit. Like, this is like reasonably close-ish, like at least on some parameters, where there's like it's quite a lot of coins going up at the same time, and like especially ETH. Being one of the better performers and what that has facilitated. It's looking more like what a plausible 2025 version would look like, right? Because like it's not going to be 2017, 2021 version where basically everything there's enough bandwidth for everything to go up at the same time. I don't think that's super likely. But this is kind of starting to shape up like it, right? Like ETH BTC, ETH, a lot of ETH beta stuff, just the magnitude of some of these moves. What more do you want? Like it's certainly setting up that way. But like the TLDR on the BTC side is, I still think even if you want to pump altcoins, it's better to, like, there are two places to do it. One is like essentially above 115, 116. You're like, okay, BTC is weak, whatever, but it's holding the important stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. If there's some open interest shedding on altcoins as a result of it dipping into there, fine, that's okay. But overall, I can stomach that and ride the XRP breakout attempt and the ETH towards 4K, whatever. Alternatively, if 115 breaks, I think it'll actually move close towards what you said, like 110-ish. And then most of the open interest added in the last few days, I think, will get shredded. And then if you're bullish there, that's probably going to be the best entry you're going to get. Because if you're wrong, like, we're all dead anyway, and if you're right, that's the best entry available. I know that's a whole lot of fucking word salad, but it's what you get. TLDR, 115, 116, if not that, do or die final nuke on the full pump retrace. And if that doesn't work, then I guess we're all fucked.
Yeah. I mean, the worst case scenario for, I think, everyone would just like that it invalidates the breakout, but then also doesn't go down. Like, I would hate to live in that world, because if it at least like it invalidates 110 and goes towards like 100, and then it just at least it nukes fully, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But if it invalidates 110 and then goes to 100 and starts ranging again, I just want to end it.
I'm not going back there.
Fine. But I agree with you. That's the most likely generally. Like, hold 110. Otherwise, just paying the weights. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But generally, I mean, the place to be has been altcoins.
Yeah, let's talk about a few of them. I mean, the BTC TLDR is clear. 115, 116 for strong/early support. 110 is what the fuck are we doing here? But hey, it's still support, and that's it, really. Let's go with ETH first. I mean, ETH BTC's been on tear as well. This is like the second real impulsive weekly. And the pattern was quite nice, right? It was the bottoming impulse, consolidation. I think that breakdown overshot most people's kind of pullback level, like that weekly cluster on ETH BTC or whatever else. But then it's just straight up from that point. Now, it's still pretty shit, right? Like a zoomed out weekly view, you're like, okay, nice. It's bouncing after how many years of going down? But like ETH USD, I think, is the more interesting one. And in general, that has kind of followed more or less what you argued, which was that if you break, you liked the reaction at 2,700 and all the wicks and all of that shit. And then your argument was there's nothing until the range high 4K. And then the second part of your argument was if it gets there again, it'll break, etc., etc. So, I mean, we're kind of in the middle, right? We've had the follow through from the 2.8 break, quite a big one, up at 3.5, but we're not quite at 4K yet. And I've also seen some lower high charts posted up on Twitter, Don. So this is your least. I know you love these questions when you've like called a move and it goes super fucking impulsive, and then people are like, okay, so what do I do now? And
like,
your favorite response is, you should have listened to me. So indulge us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really hard at this point right now to make like a call, like where do you buy if this goes down? Because it's kind of like the same story as Bitcoin. Like if it goes down, like why? Like why would it be going down here? Other than like a retest of, I have a range low at 2.9K. Like that's acceptable, but more than that, you really wouldn't want to see.
Mate, that
So
seems fucking low, doesn't it? It's like it'll wipe out this entire week, basically.
yeah, but I mean, if you like, whenever I'm looking for like these kind of pullback levels, right?
Right.
Sometimes I go on the lower time frames ish. So, for example, the daily time frame. You open that up and you look like, hey, okay, we kind of haven't had like a pullback at all. We had like some sideways. We had a little bit of a false range breakdown, but since then, basically since 2K, we haven't had a pullback. We almost went straight to 4K, right? So we basically almost doubled. So I think like there's a world in which, like, if something, like I said, if something macro wise goes wrong, where we pull back to like 2.9, maybe 2.8. But I would prefer not to. Generally, I think that would be like oftentimes that be just a sign of weakness and that this isn't gonna be sustained. But that's kind of like the only area that I see that would be interesting, TA wise. It's just I would much rather have this basically go sideways here, or just like either rip, like completely just go up and then pull back from much higher. Basically, like you go towards like 6K and then you pull back from 6K to 4K. That'd be much more fun and much more constructive, I think, than pulling back now, or just going sideways here in this range a little bit in the free case and go sideways and then attempt to break out. If it's bullish, I think it should do one or the other, basically either sideways here without retesting 2.9, 2.8K. Otherwise, I think there's like, even if it pulls back like to 2.9, 2.8, you might get an entry, but you might want to sell that entry if you actually get the entry, because that'd be a sign of weakness. So basically, you're kind of fucked either way.
You don't have a fucking clue. Neither do I, mate. Yeah. It's fine.
No, but like basically you're fucked either way. Like I hate when, like, this is why I hate these kind of breakout trades, right? Because I like to buy when it's low, or when like in this case, I didn't even buy when it was low. I would just buy it, and then it went up a bunch, and then went down a lot more, and then it went back up.
You held when it was low. That's still counts.
Yeah, but I hate these kind of breakout trades because you're stuck between like a rock and a hard place. Like it's just like, what the fuck do you want to buy this? If you're buying it, you're buying into weakness.
Yes.
If you buy it right now, you're technically buying it on the last chance that the bears have. And also after a rally that was completely insane, right? This thing basically went from 1.4K straight towards 3.6.
Sure.
And then the argument becomes like, hey, if you didn't buy it at 1.4, 1.5, or 1.6, like what is like, why are you buying it now? What has changed?
It's fucking green, bro.
Yeah, and then, like that's the only answer, and it's not a bad answer, but it's like, it's really hard for me to justify. It's why I try to buy low, just so I don't have to make these choices.
Yes, I mean, just to elucidate the specific tension, it's like market moves up a lot, right? Yeah. And then your options: 1, market buy; 2, wait for pullback high time frame; 3, wait for pullback low time frame, right?
Yeah.
And it's like all three of those kind of suck. Because option 1, the market buy option, sucks to some extent, because if you're there having this existential crisis, it probably means that the market is up a shit ton and there's some half decent proximity to invalidation for the bearish side of the trade, right? And it also probably means your volatility tolerance is low if you're in that frame of mind, because as soon as you buy and you're like, oh, I'm gonna bite the bullet and do it, and then it dips like 0.5%, you're gonna feel like a fucking idiot who just bought the top, and the chances of you managing that trade properly are very low. Like I've done that a shit ton. I don't know if you have, where I'm like, listen, I'm just gonna be an adult about this. Yeah, it moved a lot, but the signal on the high time frame is valid, so I'm just gonna buy. And then I start watching it on like the 5-minute, and it pulls back. I'm like, I fucking knew it. This is the generational top. That's like a classic thing. That's why that option sucks. Option 2 sucks. Wait for pullback high time frame, because to some extent it is self-defeating. If you're buying the breakout because it's strong, and then it erases the whole breakout, why are you buying? You know, like maybe it works. Maybe that's a rare case where the baby pips side of the market wins, and the market can erase like an entire day or entire week of strength, and end up giving you a super nice entry, and then immediately resuming the strength. But like in general, that's quite rare. At least in crypto, the way it tends to work is you get locked the fuck out, and by the time it gets back to the high time frame pullback level, you don't want to own that shit. You know, like it's over. The fact that it's back there is a bad thing. And then number 3, wait for pullback low time frame. It's probably one of the more palatable options, but then I mean you're kind of just like jerking off on low time frames at that point, you know. And oftentimes you end up getting like a low time frame or fast moving, fast moving average RSI reset type of entry, and then you just get like a high time frame, like a slightly higher time frame move that steamrolls you. And so you can't afford to be, even though you have to be more precise on lower time frames, the chances that you get dicked over by a higher time frame move are also elevated. So like there are kind of no good options. This is why I'm guessing you avoid this shit at all costs, because if you want to trade once the impulse is happening, your options, I mean, these are fine options, but they have very kind of clear trade-offs attached to them. We missing anything from that framework? Market buy, wait for pullback high time frame, wait for pullback low time frame. I guess just like stay sidelined and see exactly on YouTube and Twitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have done that with ETH. They've just been sidelined, and then they get and the thing is with sideline, it's also a shit option. I think it's honestly like, for me personally, that's probably the best option.
We also missed that revenge short, by the way.
that is actually the worst one, yeah. But like the best option for me in these kind of circumstances, when I'm FOMOing after a coin went 3x in like a couple of months, is just doing nothing. And I'm quite good at this because like I don't really care at the end of the day. Like ETH goes to 10k and I don't have a position. Oh well, I mean, like I don't really care. It's okay. I'll find something else to trade, you know. But the worst thing that people do is basically they stay sidelined until they cannot take the pain any longer, and then they buy in. And at that point, like when it hits a pain point, and you kind of push it that far that you just physically cannot stop yourself from buying anymore, that is always gonna be near or just at the top, right? So like you have to know yourself a little bit in this regard, and sometimes you have to do damage control before it ever happens. Like you've been an ETH bull, for example, and then you capitulated, but you love ETH, and now it's up a bunch, and you're thinking like, what should I be doing? I mean, the best case, like I said, in a lot of these instances, is just being sidelined. But if you are someone that is weak psychologically to kind of like pumps and this kind of stuff, like you just want to have it at that point, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and just buy before that happens. But it's always a bad choice, I think. Just generally, like you're making bad choices at this point, because the funny thing is, like the ETH that we're trading right now is the same ETH like 3 months ago, when it was trading.
That's
at
fucking bullshit. The tech is so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, can't you tell? Just look at the chart. The fuck do you mean it's the same ETH? This is a different asset now.
Yeah,
How dare you?
Like that's exactly how the mind works, you know. Like it's and that's kind of something that people have to work on. Like I saw so many people that liked ETH just hate on ETH, like the ETH Foundation, whatever, and that screams so like just emotional kind of like trading to me, because like this has always been the case. This is not like all of ETH has always functioned like ETH does. Basically, they run the same playbook for years and years. And if you then like the price goes down a bunch and you're starting to like write rants on Twitter about how everything is shit, I think at that point you really shouldn't be trading this thing at all, because or like generally consider not trading. Maybe the investment side of things is better for you then, because like that way of thinking just gonna lead you to ruin, I think. I had not a second, even though I was down like 40% or something at some point, I didn't think for a second to write an angry tweet about the E Foundation. I find that like that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And if you did, and if you do this kind of stuff, gotta put some safeguards in place for you to not kind of get you out of positions that you like / dislike, whatever. I think that's just like not only poor behavior, but also just bad trading.
Yes, yeah, I think that's completely right. And yeah, like sometimes like people love, like, I don't know if this makes any sense, let me know, but you know the idea of missed trades, people are fine with it if they try to buy a dip or sell a rip and like leave a limit order and like it doesn't hit, you know, and it's like, oh, it's just the cost of doing business, missed trades, onto the next one, etc. But for some reason, like, people don't apply the same framework to like large breakouts and breakdowns, not to the same extent. Like, you know, this, like, something's gone up a lot, and if you don't have exposure to it, at what point do you tell yourself like, oh, okay, like I fucking missed it, you know? I think the answer is it depends how much further you think it's got to go, right? Like, if you think it's gonna fucking double or triple from here, then you can break that down into whatever number of extra trades and sort of justify them on their own terms. But there's this weird psychological block when it comes to big moves that people feel like they have to participate in them, even if you're like, okay, where do you think realistically the cap for this thing is? And let's for ETH's sake say, oh, like, I think 4K is going to be really tricky, you know? And then they're finding reasons to get in at like 3899, for example. Like, that's not super sensible in my view. Like, you need to have a point where you're like, okay, listen, fuck, it sucks missing like a massive part of the impulse, but like, what the fuck am I gonna do here, you know? Like, I'm gonna grow up and just wait, basically, because I think the fifth one is the worst one, the revenge short. That's absolutely how you blow up and get carried out.
I mean, that's the dumbest thing. You want to own something, and then you're like, shit, it went up too high, let me short it. Like,
I mean, people do this shit all the time. You and I have seen it, like, over the last 8 years. You know, my favorite one is, like, someone's hyper bullish in their own words, and they want, like, a long entry, and they're like, I'll just short scalp it to my target. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
have
like,
you seen that? Where it's like, I'm really bullish this thing. Like, I think any dip I'm buying, but, like, because there isn't a dip right now, I'm going to short it until I get the dip, and then I'm going to close and flip. It's like, okay, and then all your ex-girlfriends fucking call you at the same time and tell you you're the best they've ever had. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, it's so stupid. Because you like the thing, you know? Like, it's the dumbest thing you can do, because technically the reason why you want to buy it should be the reason why you definitely don't want to short, right? But people are just kind of like completely, I mean, it's the greed part, it's also just the wanting to be right kind of thing.
Sure.
But it's really stupid. Like, I generally advise anyone, like, if you want to really have, like, own something, you don't want to touch the short side, and if you really don't want to have something, the long side is probably not the play, right? Like, if you counter trade basically your view on something, it's almost guaranteed to lose your money, just because, one, it's going to be really easy to shake you out, and two, like, what are you doing? Like, this makes no sense. Like, just logically, it makes no sense. If you're bullish on something, you don't want to be selling it. Like, that's just fucking stupid. And I think that's, if people would actually just follow that very simple rule, like, hey, I'm not gonna be shorting something that I want to own, and the other way around, they prevent a lot of the blow-ups that I've been seeing and you've been seeing, like, over the last years. Like, too many people have said, like, hey, I'm super bullish Bitcoin at like $500, but I think it needs to pull back to 300, so I'm gonna short that from 500 to 300, and then they get liquidated when it goes from 500 to 1,000, and then from 1,000 to 120,000, right? And then you're sitting there, you were completely right with your bullishness, and I mean, that's just the most awful thing you can do to yourself, and I cannot recommend it for everyone, for anyone. It's just stupid. Just
not great. Not sending their best.
No.
But yeah, this kind of stuff is really, I mean, it's funny to some extent. I do think a lot of it is, I talked about this like last Monday. A lot of this is like ego driven in a very primitive way. Like, it's not sexy to buy a breakout or sell a breakdown, or sort of buy strength, sell weakness, etc. Especially if you're wrong on the back of it and have to like close a position and rebuy, or vice versa. Like, Twitter conditions us for like this instant, you know, there's something aesthetically pleasing and sort of psychologically pleasant about getting like what's defined as a nice entry, you know? It makes you feel smart that you bought before it went up, or you sold before it went down. And trades where you sort of begrudgingly grit your teeth and, you know, other men have done the pumping for you, and then you meekly join in at the back of the queue. You know, like there's something emasculating about that, and a part of it that doesn't really sit well with the ego. I think a lot of trading mistakes and stubbornness come down to that. You know?
Yeah, it's all ego. Yeah,
it's just that part is worth very much being aware of. But yeah, that's our shit list. Market moves up a lot. Options, I mean, you could obviously fucking sell it if you already own the thing or you think it's going to go down or whatever. But the most common, I mean, this has been true since 2017. As soon as the market goes up, the questions are, okay, I didn't buy, what do I do now? And yeah, there are no there's no panacea answer to it. If anything, in 2017, I thought, oh, you just wait and buy the retest, you know? And then I just learned the hard way that it's going to keep going and go up like 10x. And by the time I get the retest, the trend is over. So like in crypto in particular, I feel like that's a really bad option. When it comes to the high time frames, it's just not something you generally do. I mean, it might dead cat bounce, but maybe it's 10x by then and then go down 60, 70%, and then it's at your retest entry, you know? That was option one, market buy, which we discussed. I mean, market buy is the more sensible one, if anything, right? Where it's like, okay, if you really want to own the thing and this signal really means a lot to you, then you can just own it. You know,
yeah,
just own it
agree.
And stop playing trader. Like that's, I think, where the mental blockage comes in. Someone missed out on the trader entry, so they buy like an investor, but they still want the precision and the trade management of a trader. And it's like, you just got to stop these personalities from talking to each other, you know? Like, I think you phrased it very well with like, you know, be an investor, the investor mindset, just like don't touch the other side. I think if you end up in that position where you just want to own the thing, the signal is super strong, yeah, it's moved a lot, it's volatile, whatever, but it still meets your rough criteria, and you like the thing and want it, then just turn off your trader brain to the best extent that you can. And I think this is especially true in 2021. Like a lot of those massive outlier winners were built on the back of just mega high time frame signals that blasted 20, 30, 40% through whatever high time frame level. And if you waited for a pullback, locked out. If you waited for XYZ, locked out. But people who just like said, okay, fuck it, I'm just going to buy because it's strong, they had a pretty good time, provided they sold at some point. So that's the market buy. Wait for pullback, high time frame. I think that's one of the worst options.
Yeah, straight up, just terrible.
Just bad. Don't do it. Wait for pullback, low time frame. I think
that's decent. Yeah,
that's decent. It's one of the hardest ones, I think, in terms of like technical skill. You know, like in most cases, when you get a high time frame breakout like that, what that looks like is going down to like the 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour, and like trying to make something happen on that time frame, like a daily open drive or previous, you know, like a daily, you know, previous day's low, a fast moving average, an RSI 50 reset, just a fucking consolidation, evidence of absorption on the future side. Like that's where you start diddling with all the low time frame stuff. I think it's decent. It's just hard, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's still uncomfortable.
Yeah, sorry. I think you basically look at it from the perspective where I want to market buy this thing, but I want to be not quite as dumb.
Yeah, that's a really good way of framing it. Yeah. I want to market buy with some style, you know?
Yeah.
Or I want to market buy, but like feel like a trader.
And I think that's like legit, like probably one of the better ones.
Yeah,
because
I
then
agree.
you're at least not full stacking into like the biggest green candle. You're actually thinking about it. But can also go wrong. Like I've seen that go wrong too, where you just wait for that 10-minute pullback, 15-minute pullback, 1 hour pullback, and it just never happens.
Yes, and then you feel like a massive cunt, right? Because you're like, okay, I'm gonna market buy, but I'm gonna like soft market buy by waiting for a low pullback, low time frame, and then because you didn't get like a 0.3% pullback to your exact level, you miss out on the whole move that you oh so desperately wanted to own. If anything, I think when I've done this in the past, not so much recently, which is maybe a mistake, I used to split it up between those two. You know, I'd have a portion where I just mechanical, like, okay, fuck this, bite the bullet, I'm a piece of shit, I missed the move, I'm a bad person, but like I want to own the thing, so I'm just going to market buy some of it, and then I get the intellectual, ego-driven satisfaction of playing trader by leaving the other half or the other third or whatever's left for a more precise entry, you know? And that way, even if the part 2 misses, I still own part 1. If I really want the piece of the thing. But I don't think you can really want something and then only go for the low time frame pullback thesis. Like if you desperately want an entry, you can't create circumstances under which you don't get an entry. Like that seems contradictory to me, you know?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, how much do you want to own it? Like, oh my god, desperately. It's okay, did you buy some? Nah, it didn't pull back like to the exact fib level that I wanted, so I missed out the next like 50% move. It's like, okay. I know that sounds like a parody of someone, but I've literally been that guy so many times where I'm like, dude, we've had these conversations where I'm like, dude, this is the best fucking high time frame chart I've ever seen. And you're like, okay, did you buy some? I'm like, dude, look at this hourly. Like, it comes back and does this, and you call me a fucking idiot correctly. And yeah, sideline C, there's actually not that bad either. As long as, I think you mentioned this, right? Like sideline seed is okay as long as it then doesn't transform into one of those other things.
Yeah.
Because like if sideline seed then forces you to act, that's going to be the top. You should probably at least have the courtesy of telling your friends when you do that so they can like counter trade you. Because that's like
send us a DM.
Send us a DM. Yeah. It's like that meme, you know, it's going to keep going up until you buy. That's where a lot of that comes from. And then a revenge short is just, fucking Darwin Award.
The funny thing is, like, the reason why that works so well, right? Like, it's going to go up until you buy is because, like, there's a lot of people like that, like you in that instance, sitting there waiting for it, right? And then they cannot, and they're all in the same position. Like, this is the funny thing. Like, it's basically a bunch of people feeling the exact same emotions. And if those people at some point, like the people that are in pain and cannot take it anymore, have bought, like, who's left? And then you actually just don't have anyone left to buy anymore. And then shit just tops and nukes. And then that entire group of people just completely loses it. But that's just how it goes, right? Like, if you look at it from like an emotional standpoint, this basically the market moves. And it's not just you that feels this. It's a million other people too, just on different screens around the world.
Yeah, that you're right. There is like something to it that is a very precise cohort, you know, the exit liquidity cohort in most cases. It's like, oh, finally Coinbase IPO, time to buy, you know, that was fun.
Yep.
Anyway, there's your 5-part framework to losing money when the candles are big, you know. You're welcome. Other altcoins. I mean, ETH, your levels are far away and scary. Is there anything on lower time frames where you're like, this is...
No, I have nothing.
No,
I'm
there's
just
nothing,
like,
right? Just
like straight up nothing. I mean, I said I don't even like 4K. I don't have a resistance that I like. I don't have the support that I particularly like.
Buy never, sell never. Like,
yes, I literally like I'm in it. I like at this point, like my entry is quite decent, but funnily enough, it's still not even like the trade is still horrendous even at this point. Like I was down like 40-50%, now I'm up like 40%.
Amazing.
That doesn't really math, you know. But I generally think, like, for me, like, this looks like it wants to go higher, and if it comes anywhere close, like, I honestly think there's a world in which I just TP break even if this shit comes back.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so like if it comes back and there's not a good reason for it to come back, I could see myself just closing the trade. Be a horrendous trade, but I mean, at that point, like I don't really see a good reason other than, like I said, macro kind of headwinds to go back to 2.8.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what that was. Like the top of the weekly cluster, right?
So basically, we put back to 3K in a quick wick just because, okay, I can live with it. But if we start closing like at 2.7, 2.8, like I don't see the reason, and I would kind of like consider the trade invalidated. Now I will give myself some room.
Oh, we know.
Because basically, like I mean, what else do you buy with that money? Like I'm kind of like thinking, like, if I sell my ETH here, what am I gonna buy?
I don't know. You were shilling the DAX the other week. So
oh, I mean, it went up.
Maybe you rotate to German equities.
No, but like I think if we get macro headwinds and this shit collapses, I mean, the DAX is also not the best place to park your money. So
DAX.
So like I will give myself some room to play with this, but generally, like just from a TA perspective, I don't like that retest.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's sensible. I mean, that especially on ETH, that would give back what, like a week and a half of impulse.
Yeah.
That's not fun. XRP is an interesting one because it had a stab at its all-time high.
Looks insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a silly one. Would a failed breakout here make you shit yourself, or do you not care?
No,
is this another one of those?
Really don't care.
Okay.
Throw up XRP USD on Bitstamp on the monthly chart.
XRP, wow, on Bitstamp.
Because it has more history.
Oh yeah, it does. Oh yeah, this isn't the all-time high. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Well, it's like the second all-time high type of thing.
We have been here before.
We have been here before.
twice already before this one. And if you think about it, like there's something that I say a lot, right? Like whenever you test these kind of resistances so many times, you'd expect them to break. So even if this is bearish, I would expect a false breakout. So towards like 4, 5, or 6 maybe, and then back down. That would be a false breakout. I would kind of be surprised if we just went here and then didn't fully break out. Like I just don't really see a good reason. Like I said, unless it's fucking annoying that we have to like kind of reiterate that so much, but unless macro headwinds come into play and just nuke it, I'd be surprised if this didn't run. Even if Bitcoin already topped, I would be surprised if this didn't break out at the end of the cycle, basically. And I don't necessarily think Bitcoin has topped yet. But generally, like I just look at this chart, like if you zoom out a little bit, and I made this, I tweeted this when we were trading at $2. I kind of feel like we're in some sort of 2017 fractal, that kind of consolidation in between the two moves in 2017. And I basically think like we have the impulsive move to the upside still to come. That's kind of what I'm waiting / hoping for, which would be like back then it was a move from 0.25 towards $3. And I think like if we played out the same way, that would take us towards like 6, 7, 8, 9. I see a lot of people kind of like just extrapolating. They're like, hey, back then it moved from 0.2 towards like 3, so that's like a whatever X. So we need to do that again, and then you calculate it, and it's like it's an absurd number of market cap. I don't think that's gonna play out, but I could see this kind of just break out fully.
Just go for the meme numbers: 420, 690. Yeah, and then 911. There you go.
Yeah, that's basically exactly what I'm looking at. Like
so,
I have
you may not like it, but this is what peak sophistication looks like.
I have one resistance on the chart beyond the all-time high resistance, and that is 6.9. 6.9. And I think at that point, like we go all the way over there, I will have taken most off the table.
Okay.
And generally, if we go back to where we were, I will also have like, and with this move, it's really nice because it gives me a really nice invalidation. I think if we go below 2 again, it's kind of over for this thing. Before I had an invalidation at like 1, just to make sure I didn't miss the next move, and my entry was really good. So it didn't, like, I would still have a 2x basically at $1, and now my invalidation is a 2. And if the higher we go, the more I will raise it. I'm not someone that wants to own XRP long term, but I do like it for a trade. That's kind of like my thinking. That's why I'm raising my invalidation. If I was an XRP investor, I wouldn't, obviously. But since I'm not, that's kind of how I look at it.
So no fear at the all-time high.
No, I generally think this just honestly, I really like how this is playing out, especially if it kind of like the all-time high breakout is kind of like a little bit choppy. That gives enough fuel for the next leg.
Okay.
So I like this. Like I like this better than if this just went straight up towards like $4 or $5 in the next 2 days. I like it if it chops here around for like a couple of days.
Shed some fat from people with less belief than you.
Yeah, and just generally get people to short, because a lot of people are angry at XRP, and I think they're looking for excuses to short. And if there's one thing that I know about XRP is that these people are evil. They're gonna fuck you over. Like we've seen this so many times. In 2017 too, where a bunch of people revenge shorted this thing because people hate XRP for what it is, and I mean I understand because it does kind of go against everything crypto, right? Like the whole decentralization. You have like, it's basically the meme of the suits in crypto, right? You don't want to have them, and because people hate it so much, they are easy to short it, and that gives a lot of fuel. And then once you have taken all of that out, it's harder to go up. So I do like it if it chops around a little bit, get some people to short, and then have like a proper breakout afterwards. That'd be my preferred way of going about it.
What a charitable man, you know, willing to sit through some chop and draw down.
I mean, I sat through like this to be entirely honestly, like I mean, this is wasn't really. I mean, for me, like I was kind of chilling for most time, but this was like 6 months of chop, right?
Dude, yeah, this, yeah, it's
like December to
literally from December,
to now.
Jesus.
This has just aggressively chopped, and I've seen a lot of people kind of get completely blown up by this.
But then it like doubles, you know. So yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, if you zoom out, if you go on the monthly,
man.
there was one red monthly candle. Like, we had a massive green monthly candle. And we had 2 green months. We had 1 red monthly candle. That was it. And then it consolidated a bunch, and now it's going back up. Like, that's so incredibly strong that I just don't see how that just turns around with a false breakout here. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll finally see XRP go back to where it should be, but I think that day is not yet upon us.
Well,
and generally, honestly, like with how the world is going right now, and kind of like the acceptance of crypto in the TradFi world, I think XRP is just insanely well positioned, whether I like it or not. Whenever you see like the European Union talk about crypto, they have a Ripple executive sitting there advising them. It's the same in the US. Like these people are everywhere. They have so much money. I think they're incredibly well positioned. Like people that think it's gonna go away are very wrong. I think XRP, like Bitcoin, ETH, and probably XRP have the most staying power out of like all of the cryptos, which is crazy to say for people that hate XRP, but I think it is just the case. They have infinite war chest. They have infinite cloud in governments.
Yeah.
They have
lobbying.
Minecraft. They have. I mean, it's not illegal what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Technically, they can in the US, and they're taking full advantage of it. So I don't know. Like if you're thinking, oh, this is just a fad, it's gonna go away, I think you're wrong. It's one of the oldest cryptocurrencies.
So Lindy, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm saying this from a place of like, I really don't like it. Like, this is not me saying, hey, I love XRP. This is me saying, like, I don't like it, but I just see it for what it is.
What else do you see for what it is? Pump is on my list. The founder said he's going Jew mode, and it started dumping since then, which is quite funny.
I honestly hate how this has become acceptable kind of talk for like just generally business owners, whatever. I don't think this is like, it's just like the whole childish arc of the last 2 years or something that we've seen. I'm not biggest fan of. Like,
it's called brand building and being crypto.
It's called being a retard.
I love how you're like, I don't like the language they use. Then you're like, it's called being a retard.
Yeah.
Jesus,
am I a hypocrite? Maybe. But
maybe.
Like it's one of the reasons why I like ETH, because Vitalik is someone that and I mean, he crashed out completely at the bottom too. So where I was like, fuck, man.
It's true.
Like full on crash out, but I'm like, just don't sink to this level. I don't understand why this is like, why people try to appease the kind of like 10-year-old people that like this kind of language. I don't
agree, especially like gendered language. That's just for bitches and pussies, you know. I don't stand for any of that shit.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's not like I'm much better. It's just
I think you're worse.
The thing is, I wish that the stuff that we use, the companies, whatever, that they would at least hold up like some sort of kind of like being reasonable, because I mean, as it stands right now, like everything's falling apart, you know. Like if the professionals, quote unquote, start being like this, I mean, like this, it's not the hip thing to do anymore, you know. Like, I don't know, I don't like it. Doesn't really matter. I find it
man
really
yells at cloud type vibe.
Yeah, but not really, because I'm also doing it, you know. Like I'm also talking like this a little bit at least. So it's not.
You're basically saying, if I'm not going to preserve a decency and decorum, could someone else do it, please?
Yeah, please. Like, come on. Like, I'm just some random duck on the internet, you know.
True.
Like I can be that guy, but if you're running like a protocol, coin, whatever, I mean, you really shouldn't be that guy.
To be fair,
in
it's
my
not
opinion.
Pump.fun tweeting Jew mode on. It's the founder. That's slightly
Yeah.
different, right? He's got his own personal brand.
Yeah. And then it's funny though, tweeting that at the top and then everything nukes. I mean, yeah. No, I mean, I have zero view on this thing.
I mean, where do you put, there's this whole like mental matrix of like Pump relative to Solana, relative to Trenches, relative to ETH. I've seen a ton of mental gymnastics. My favorite thing is just like kind of ask the market about the market, right?
And clearly the market doesn't like it.
Yeah, not at the moment anyway.
I mean, altcoins went up infinite and this thing went down.
Yes.
That's kind of like, especially on peak mindshare too. It's not like this is like this is like 4 weeks old and that's old in crypto. No, this was peak mindshare when altcoins went up and this thing went down. I think people just don't like Pump.fun that much
anymore.
They loved it and they got rugged on everything.
And there's some competition now too.
And then you have like the whole bonk stuff, which I don't know.
Are you in the bonk trenches?
No, I'm also not the biggest fan. Just seems like it seems like a spin-off, like a weird spin-off.
Yeah.
But and in my experience, that doesn't really end well. Like the spin-offs, like it's not really the vibe. But I like it better than Pump.fun.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And like I said, like I think I'm not the only one. And I'm not even someone that got rugged on Pump.fun. But I saw a lot of people kind of being like, oh yeah, this is gonna be going like Hype did. And I don't know.
What a terrible argument. Jesus.
Like
You really saw that?
Yeah, I saw that a lot actually on Twitter. And I'm like, I just don't agree.
No.
Like Hype had a lot of good faith everywhere.
Of course.
You couldn't talk with anyone that was actually actively hating on it. At least no sane person was. Whereas on Pump.fun, like almost every sane person fucking hates the thing.
I mean, who got shafted on Hype? Like, even if you lost money trading there, you basically made it all back on the airdrop.
Yeah.
Whereas Pump.fun, it's
like max extraction kind of thing.
Very
like
sad place. Actually.
Yeah, not only like during their year or something of operation on like just with their tokens where there was just max extraction, also with kind of the launch of the coin that was also just kind of very extractive. So I think just generally it makes a lot of sense for this to have shit price action. I think it would take the market to be really, really bullish for this to run. And the market cap is still quite high, even at these kind of prices, where it's gone down from the highs by what, like 50%? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's
like
down a bit.
40% from the highs. Not that bad, to be fair. It's just notable because everything else went up.
Yes.
But no, I don't like it. You will not see me trade Pump. But I also, like, I'm not here shorting this thing. Like, I couldn't care enough to have like a position on this kind of thing.
Any other alts? What about, I mean, Dogecoin's up, Sushi's up, Ethereum Classic, XVG.
Yeah, the worst of the worst of 2017.
There's some absolute bangers popping off. I can open up Velo. Shout out to the Velo boys and girls. Here's the 24-hour change. Pump is down bad. I mean, look, the two coins that are down the most are Pump and Launchcoin, which are like the new coin meta-ish, right? Or at least were for some time. In terms of what's up, I mean, there's some random stuff like C, Alu, Bank, etc. But out of stuff we'd recognize, Sushi's up 25% the last 24 hours.
Bunch of ETH stuff, basically.
Ethereum Classic, Harry Potter, Obama Sonic 10, Inu.
Yeah, also ETH.
Yeah, so. Uni, Nero, Doge. Doge, you used to, care about Doge, and then...
Yeah, then Elon kind of... I still, like, I like the position Dogecoin is in right now, just with the market being set up the way it is. If we get, like, a good altcoin move, I could see Dogecoin do decently well. But I don't care enough anymore. Like, I don't like the Elon involvement. I generally think that's just a negative. I'd rather trade other stuff. I think XRP is the better meme coin than Dogecoin at this point. With upside on like just it being an actual coin and not Doge.
An actual coin is funny. Yeah. BNB might set a new all-time high soon. That's interesting. But yeah, I basically agree.
The altcoins are going up, which is really funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Litecoin, I saw it on my watch list, but there's a Litecoin strategic reserve, which is...
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, some of these coins, their structure was so fucked up that even with a really good week or, day or even week, they still look a bit crap. Like, I think it's nice to look for alts with a bunch of space, if that makes sense. Because then if the whole market's going to get lifted, there's less resistance to chew through on those coins. But yeah, I mean, dealer's choice, really. At least in the last couple of days, kind of just everything went up async. More recently, it's slowed down a bit because BTC's not been playing ball as much.
Yeah, I think people are getting a little bit afraid that, like, with the altcoins moving and Bitcoin kind of struggling, that it's over.
You think it's bullshit?
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say, but it doesn't really feel like the whole corporate Ponzi has heated up enough for this to be the top. But also, like, we could get an aggressive pullback and wipe out a bunch of people in the altcoins, and then still go up. But I don't know. Like, I don't like how we're trading right now, but also when you zoom out a little bit, it's kind of funny being like, oh, Bitcoin is trading so poorly, even on the weekly time frame. Like, we had a breakout candle.
Yeah.
And now we just have like a little bit of an indecisive week.
I mean, no, look, we spiked above previous week's high, and that means we go towards previous week's low at 107. Yeah. Hashtag TA.
Yeah, I think if we did that, we're kind of in a little bit of trouble. But right now, it's not like it's that bad. It's just people don't like the low time frame action, and I kind of
fair enough.
Like, I kind of get it. Yeah, it's not so pretty. But yeah, I don't know. Like right now, I'm a little bit on the fence. And I'll just wait and see. But like, I look at the altcoins and they look like they're not even done for this push yet. Like, I look at XRP, that doesn't look done at all to me, even on the low time frames. Like, I look at the 4 hour for XRP.
It's a 1 hour break in market structure. It's gonna go down 50%. I've seen this pattern so many times.
Yeah. Funny thing is, like, at some point, like 50% is even in the realm of possibility because it just goes up so much. But no, I look at ETH and XRP, and I kind of think that there's still a move to go. With Bitcoin, it's a little bit like you said. Also, it's a little bit scary the way it is trading right now. But we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. I like I said, I give it some room. I give it some bullshit room, basically, to do bullshit things.
Some headline breathing bandwidth.
Yeah,
bullshit.
Just generally, also the market's just been more bullshit, less just super technical, and that's done quite well. Like, I think it's really important to kind of recognize this, like how the market is trading, and kind of realize, like, hey, right now I need to be really, really technical, and then there's times where you need to be much less technical. And I kind of feel like we're in the less technical kind of times right now.
Yeah, I think that's fairly. I think it's probably a bit more technical than it was like in peak Trump mania, but still less than like a chart nerd would have you believe. I think all that makes a ton of sense. Cool. I haven't got anything to add. I mean, realistically, you were right about no glaze, etc., etc. BTC ignoring the weekly breakdown signal, ETH catching up, and XRP for fucking ages now. So this is just kind of a nice opportunity to get an updated view. And that updated view is very helpful because basically said, I don't know, I was right then, so I'm comfy now, fuck you. Like, if you're not in position, go fuck yourself.
I mean,
like,
the funny thing is, like,
nice show.
Like, I giga shilled XRP as
you did. It was disgusting.
As 6x ago,
not in my WhatsApp,
right?
though.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in your WhatsApp too.
There's a lot of stuff in my WhatsApp.
There is a lot of stuff, but yeah, like it's 6x, right? Like, and then you're asking me, like, a lot of people asking me, like, hey, XRP, is it too late? I'm like, dude, I bought this 6x ago.
Yeah.
I'm still holding, but at some point, it kind of feels really shit to shill someone into something that I bought like so much lower.
I mean, not on Twitter, but yeah, go off.
Yeah, and then I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know, like, when it goes this crazy. Sometimes I expect it to go even crazier, but the risk with every, like, few percentages that this goes up obviously increases also. So you have to, I think the higher something goes, the more kind of skilled you have to be if you take a new position. And sadly, the opposite is the case, right? Like I think you can take a position at like on the XRP breakout at $3. but then you have to be a much better trader than the one that took it at $2 at range low support, because you need to kind of be able to jump in and out and make accurate kind of calls. And sadly, the opposite is true. Like people are like the ones that are buying when it's breaking out and when it's like doing crazy shit. It's usually the people that have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And then I don't want to generalize like, hey, this is still a good idea or it's not, because I obviously have my position still on for a reason, right? So I'm still bullish this thing, but also I recognize the fact that this thing went up a shitload, and if I get like some kind of indication that I should be selling tomorrow, I might be selling tomorrow.
And you have the luxury of a good entry to allow you to make that decision with a cool head, you know, and some breathing room and room to observe, versus the guy who's just top blasted on leverage, immediately down 5%, and is now panic scrolling your feed, and all it is just Trump derangement syndrome. You know, like,
oh yeah, glorious, yeah. It's just
also,
how it goes.
It's so unfortunate that Elon, for the first time ever, tweeted something actually quite funny. Like, I think it's his first banger, you know, where he was like, Epstein killed himself over a hoax. It's like, oh, that's quite funny, actually. That's clever. Maybe they've got some like frontier grok model in the lab they haven't released to anyone else, and he asked it for a funny joke and he gave it to him. But that was actually quite funny. And you're getting quite a bit of support on your Trump tweets now. So I don't know, maybe this is the Trump bottom. Should we be buying the Trump coin?
Yeah, the moment people agree with me on Twitter, it's usually a bad moment.
Yeah, dude, it's not. It's worrying. People are agreeing with your takes on Trump. Like, yeah.
But I think you cannot not agree with this, honestly. Like, you have to be quite deranged to be like, oh yeah, this is fine. Like, what is happening right now is fine.
I found myself browsing the Truth Social like comments. Basically,
how is it? I have actually never done that.
Yeah,
before.
dude, people like even a lot of diehard fans are like, okay, this is weird, you know. And
I mean, yeah, I think even if he didn't do anything, right, which is still a possibility, but the way he's been acting is the most guilty way you could act.
No.
Like if I had to make a judgment call just on based, like, without knowing anything about the situation, just the way he's been acting,
No.
like you cannot be like, hey, I'm gonna release these files and then go, oh yeah, what files are we talking about? And then go, these files are made up and by my political opponents.
All in like one message.
Yeah, and it's like what are you talking about? This makes no, like, this is the most guilty talking I've ever heard. And maybe he's just unfortunate with his choice of words.
Sure.
But
I mean, even people in this close orbit like took this very seriously. You know, remember when they had all those like griftfluencers go over to the White House and hold the part 1 of the Epstein files, etc.
Yeah.
And they held a whole press conference there, and like a PR stunt. And then Vance and Trump Jr. were like, oh, you know, think about it. Why wouldn't you want to release the Trump, you know, the Epstein files, etc., etc.? Now it's like,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's like good fucking question. Can we go back like 2 months and whatever? This show's officially off the rails. We'll continue this conversation in our philosophy/politics podcast.
That one's gonna
this year.
That one's gonna go like crazy in comparison to
It'll
what
probably be much better than this one, mate. Fuck knows about this one. It's basically like me always being wrong, asking you questions about how you were right. You say I don't know, and I'm like, okay, cool. What do you think now? I don't know. I was right earlier. It's like, okay, well, thanks for listening, I guess. Yeah, fuck this show. Zero editing, no face cam, no actual actionable trade ideas. Some bullshit philosophy and self-flagellation from previous mistakes. I guess that's fun. And there's a bit of camaraderie going on, you know. Like, our contract stipulates that we should get along for like up to 90 minutes. And I love a good contract.
Yeah. They're paying us for this, so.
yeah, exactly. Cool. I mean, that's it. Stay safe, everyone. What's your leverage, as always? Hope you have had a wonderful week and have a wonderful weekend coming up. Thank you to Woo for supporting the show. God knows why they do this, but their links available in the description below. Leave us a comment before you fuck off, and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye-bye.